Joining us now, Republican Congressman Mike Lawler of New York. He was part of a congressional delegation that visited Israel over the weekend. Congressman, thanks for being with us this morning. What did you take away from that visit? What did you see and hear on the ground in Israel?
Well, you know, we flew through London to get to Tel Aviv because the State Department would not allow us to stay overnight. And when we were in London, we went and toured Churchill's War Room. And in that moment, you know, you look back to World War II and the lead up to World War II. And I think what I took away is we must not be Neville Chamberlain in this moment. We must be Winston Churchill. Victory at all costs. This is a battle of good versus evil. What Hamas did on October 7th was a vile, barbaric attack on innocent civilians. The difference between Hamas and Israel is very clear. Hamas targeted innocent civilians, slaughtering, butchering women and children. Israel is doing everything it can to avoid civilian casualties. But Hamas is using innocent Palestinians as human shields. And that is the difference. There is no moral equivalency here. And we must be clear-eyed about this. We must be resolute in our support for Israel. No one would ever tell the United States after 9/11 to enter into a ceasefire, especially with a terrorist organization like Al-Qaeda that was hell-bent on the destruction of the United States of America. Hamas, Hezbollah, proxies of Iran, they are hell-bent on the destruction of Israel. And we cannot stand idly by and let that happen. And so, you know, we went to Israel, we met with the Prime Minister, we watched a 21-minute video of raw footage of the terrorist attack on October 7th. And I don't know how you could watch that film, as members of Congress did yesterday, and walk away saying ceasefire.
So, Congressman, part of being resolute in support from the United States point of view for Israel is funding, as we have for so many years. But that continuing resolution that did pass yesterday, funded the government for a couple more months, did not include support for Israel. Are you confident that you all will get there? Because you've seen on the ground how important it is.
Yes, 1,000%. We need to provide funding to Israel. Obviously, the House passed, $14.3 billion in aid for Israel. The Senate and the House are going to have to negotiate quickly and we can get Israel the aid that it needs. I think what is important here to understand, Israel has set up a corridor to allow for the safe passage of Palestinians from the north to the south. Israel has allowed for pauses so that humanitarian aid can get into Gaza. Hamas is targeting its own civilians that are trying to pass it from the north to the south. Hamas has set up operation in hospitals and schools, putting their innocent civilians in harm's way. That is intentional. That is intentional. And we need to be very clear-eyed about that and understand that this is not an entity, not an organization that is willing to abide by a ceasefire. There has been numerous ceasefires over the last 15 years, each time broken by Hamas. They are hell-bent on destroying Israel, and they must be wiped off the face of the earth. There can be no equivocation on that. And I think what people should understand, for instance, when they hear the 11,000 civilian death toll in Gaza, that's false. That includes Hamas terrorists, and we need to be clear about that. So people need to understand, Hamas is operating like Baghdad Bob did during the Iraq War, putting out falsities intentionally to mislead. And to try and turn the world against Israel. And we cannot let that happen.